Hi, friends. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. Sorry, I am running a little bit late. I realized at the last minute that the thing that holds my phone was in a different place and didn't have all the cords that I needed. I forgot that I moved things around this weekend to film with my babies. So here we are. Hi, here I am. Yeah, so I am very excited. There's no secrets, there's no more sneak peeks. We know we're jumping straight into fall today. I did see a bunch of people in the comments checking in. So thank you so much to Sherry, Virginia. I see Gail. Let's see. Lisa's here and checking in. And I did get your email, Lisa. I'm so sorry. It's been a little bit crazy. But I appreciate you so much. And I hope you're very excited. I see Miss Annette's checking in from her final week of vacation. Darcel's here. Miss Melissa's here. ASMR and Ambiance Nook. I love that name. Hi, welcome. Let's see, Miss Gail is here. Jody, Susan, Maria, Miss Misty, Kim, Kendra, Haley, and Heather. Perfect. All right, this is going to be not like a hard card, but I want to put a lot into this. So let's just go ahead. I'll walk you through my thoughts. I also see Irene's checking in. So I grabbed the Pumpkin Patch Cuties that we took a look at, I think on Thursday, or it might have been Tuesday, because I showed you that one of the sets from last year pretty much matches them. We're not going to use that tonight. We're just going to stick with the cuties. But I have them here ready. We are going to use some of our new Hello Fall patterned papers because they're adorable and I am so excited to play with those. And then we are going to bring in, I think, some of these hearts from the, what are you? It's in the big Love You Dies. And everything's linked in the description for you now that nothing is a sneak peek and I actually have links I can link to. Let's see, I see Anne checking in, Lori's checking in. You're good, Anne. I knew what you meant. Perfect. Oh, and then brownstone. So I do also want to tell you that I was looking at the flag dies, the thick and the thin flag dies earlier, like as I was trying to prep, and I was like, man, I don't know how I would use these. They're not really in my style. And then right before we went live, I saw a inspiration post from the design team from Brenda, and she did a really cool flag in the background with a vellum. So now I think it's too late in my brain to figure that out for this project, but I think on Thursday we're going to have to bust out some vellum and try a flag out of vellum with inspiration from Brenda. I always say it wrong. Nilke. Yeah. Brownstone is, I would say, just, it is a craft, but it's like a little darker. Let me see if I have some other. I know I do. Let me find my craft envelope. I keep my craft and my black cardstocks in these pink and green little envelopes that are meant to fit in these binders. Wow. So I would say like this, in my opinion, is like a true craft where it has like the little fibers in it. So you can see it's a little darker than that. Pebble, in my mind, is a little more like craft. Let me see. So this is Pebble. This is like another generic craft that I have. And then this is Brownstone. So you can see it's a good bit darker, but that's what I wanted for this specific card. So if I'm going for a little lighter vibes, I'll go Pebble. If you're looking for the craft equivalent for Pink and Main, I would tell you Pebble. Also, my Pinkamene order should be here tomorrow, according to UPS. So tomorrow we'll have some new cardstock colors for me and glue. We'll have our glue back. I think I ordered a bunch of. All right, so I know I want some brownstone, and I know I want at least one pattern. I'm debating on whether I want the hearts. I'm thinking I want a brownstone mat with pattern paper and then a couple brownstone hearts with our little like critters tucked around is what I'm thinking. So we need a pattern that can go with our, it's going to work well with our little pumpkin patch. I like the checker, but that might be a little much the vibes that I'm aiming for. Kind of like more of that tone on tone pattern. I might be leaning on the green though, because I think the oranges would pop against that green really well. And I like that the tone on tone is a little more subtle. So yeah, let's do this fun green. Oh, and I know exactly what I want to do for those hearts. So we got to do that first so we have a shot at it drying. All right, let's put you aside. Let's grab another scrap of browns. Leslie said she's loving the larger paper for 5x7 cards. I don't make larger, like I don't make 5x7s, but I do dabble in slimline. So for the same reasons, I understand. Like I think that the big papers where you can do 5x7 or you can cut them down the middle for slim lines, you could do mini slim, you can cut them this way for 2A2s. I think that's such a nice way to go as like, or I know some people are even starting to make 5x5s or 6x6s. So very fun to have those options. We are going to cut, actually, I don't want this smallest one because it's not the same shape. We're going to cut these 3 hearts. And I don't have an exact plan for these, if that wasn't clear. I have a feeling. That's all I've got so far that we can kind of tuck these little hearts around the critters. I just wanted to bring in an older set. I like mixing our brand new release with some older stuff. Maybe help remind you of something you forgot you had in your stash. There. Let's grab some printer paper. Hey, Joanne. Let's see. Melissa said her daughter's been visiting from Ontario. Oh, I bet. Oh, rafting. That's fun. My husband's trying to convince me to go kayaking with him and the kids. Very nervous about it. Sherry put in her order. Oh, I see Connie's checking in too. Gail said she's got a ton of stuff in her cart. I see Raquel's checking in. And Allie's here. Sometimes, Allie, I almost forget. I should have thought about it last night to prepare all of my stuff, but That's okay. Let us. So what I was thinking is we could have a little fun with these hearts and make some custom heart action. So I'm not going to make a full glitter paste. Oh, I see. Welcome, Helene. Helena. It could be either. I don't know. You tell me, Helene or Helena. Um, Welcome. I'm very excited that you found us. Lisa, exactly. I told him if we're going kayaking, I need like the bay side in Delaware is like so flat that the kids thought it was boring the last time they went there. That's the speed that I'm prepared for. Like I need no waves whatsoever. Put me in a lake, a small lake, a pond, if you will. Sorry, I'm going in with the touch of gloss instead of our glossy gel. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a border. And I'm also not going to worry. This is a little bit leveling. What's leavening? Bread. So I'm kind of treating these almost like cookies, right? Like sugar cookies where you leave just a little border around there. Okay. And that's with the touch of gloss. And it looks kind of cloudy now, but it'll dry clear. Mudsliding. Melissa, you're crazy. We're going to go in with our tangerine superfine glitter. And we're just going to kind of dust these. It's going to stick to our touch of gloss. I'm not dumping because I want to give these a chance to dry down before I like tap off the extra glitter. And if you don't like glitter or you're a glitter worrier, you could just do these plain. You could do them with just the touch of gloss. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to just set them up here to dry. They usually take like, I don't know, 15 to 30 minutes, maybe at the most. And I didn't do a very thick layer. So by the time we get everything else done, we should be in a pretty good spot. Yes, Gail, it might be hard to believe, but there are people, in fact, that do not love glitter. I mean, fair question. It's a pretty wet gel, Allie, so I'm not planning on pressing on it at all. It's basically gonna make like a little bit of a paste on its own. Let's just verify that this is the right size. So you're 4 1/4, 5 1/2. I actually really want this to face the, oh, we'll go horizontal because then we have more room with our Step Perfect. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Oh, well, silly me, that's the same size. 5. Yeah, 5 by 3 3/4. That'll give us a nice little mat. And I'm fine if some of our stuff goes over the edge. Oh yeah, did I miss a question? Yeah, touch of gloss is what we used. Sorry, Linda. I used the touch of gloss. So you can add like a little glossy finish to whatever you're working on To my knowledge, it is the same as the glossy gel. It's just a more precise form. So if you want to go over a stencil or you want to make your own glitter paste, I would use the glossy gel. If you want to add shine to like the eyes of something, or what have we done before, like making bubbles shiny or things like that, then touch of gloss with the precision tip is going to be your best friend. And as my faithful friends here on our lives have taught me, is store it upside down, and then you don't get, it doesn't get dried out on the tip. We love a crafting hack. Um, oh no. Sherry said she dumped a jar of glitter paste on her foot and she looks like a half of a fairy. Oh no. I've done I have done that. I have done it many, many times. Okay, let's get our Pumpkin Patch Cuties started. Whilst we wait for our parts to dry. Hey, Barbara. Let's see. We need. I'm going Copics tonight. So we need. I have so many scraps. We might be able to just do this with a bunch of scraps. That would be lovely to not break out a whole new piece. These critters are not giant to begin with. All right, let's start with our leaves. Oh, and we may have gotten unofficial news that Olo may or may not have some finer tip options coming in the future. Not official, not verified, but word on the street. We're going to have all these little leaves because I think adding in leaves around those hearts is going to help them feel like an integrated part of the scene. Hey, Yvonne. We're going to go in with our asphalt ink. I'm trying to decide which little characters I want to use. I know I definitely want the pumpkins. I'm thinking the bunny and maybe the bear. They're the ones I'm the most drawn to. Bye, Kendra. Bear, bunny, because they can kind of go like next to each other. Bear can go there. We need some pumpkins. Stuck my finger in the ink. Let's add another little leaf because we already have the space. Why not? was everybody else's weekend? Everybody doing good? I know my girls start school next week. And so we have like meet the teacher night tomorrow and they're freaking out. I feel like everybody is in back to school mode. Even my friends that don't have kids are like feeling the back to school vibes. It's finally cool here too. I know it's gonna fake me out. I know it's not gonna stay this way, but it was like 73 is the high here today, and it was beautiful. Hey Mary, thank you for popping in, even if it's just for a little bit. All right, that's just a piece of tape. There's our little bun bun. I just don't think we need more. And we don't have sentiment dies. So we're going to need, I mean, I guess we could just trim it down, but I'm probably going to put it, I didn't think about that before. I'm going to go ahead and guess that there's a good chance we're going to do frosting, embossing powder on the brownstone cardstock for our sentiments and just trim it down. Perhaps sounds like a good idea. Because we're going to have the white border around all of our images. So a little extra pop of white since we have our colored cardstock background. All right, and look at that. We got it all done on scraps. Well, Gail got to play some golf. Lisa said the West Coast cooled down a bit as well. That's good. This is sunburnt. Okay, let us zoom in a little bit. Okay, let's get some leaves. Just knock right on out of the way. All right, I'm just grabbing duos of colors. So for my oranges, we're going to go YR27. And we'll just do 2 of each because I remember I have that other leaf over here. And then its highlight color is going to be YR23. Not really orange, but that's okay. I want the like true bright orange to be for our pumpkins. Our reds are going to be R59. And R46, which is a little bit different for me. We're not going with the 20s. I like that the 46 has just like a little bit of like a softer isn't the word. It's not so orange. It's a slightly more blue based red. All right, and then for our true yellow, we're going to go Y19. Oh, that's funny. It ended up being the same leaf. Misty said it's going to cool down to the lower 90s. Oh my gosh. And then Y13 is going to be our yellow highlight. And so in comparison, that like more golden leaf combo is going to look more orange. All right, leaves are good. Let's start shading in some pumpkins. I would like to do, I think I want to stay mostly normal, like common, I guess, pumpkin wise. But I also think having a couple like cream ones would be fun. And people usually enjoy seeing how I color those. And I love to share how I color those. What looks maybe 81? Oh, no. So for my orange pumpkins, I'm going to go YR09. I don't always do this. Sometimes I go YR18, but I want these to be like really poppy colors. If I was looking for a more muted color story, we would go YR18. It's a little more brown. All right, so I start by shading around and in between each of those kind of like lobes, each portion, ribs, I don't know, of the pumpkin. And then I like to pull up some color from the top and the bottom. Okay, and then the center one, the one that's facing us, I do a kind of N shape and a very loose U shape. And depending on the size of what the space I have, I'll fill those in a little bit too. Oh, I see Diane checking in from Texas. Trying to get a fish off the hook, I bet. So my middle shade for this pumpkin combo is going to be YR68. So I'm going to start pulling that color in, and because there's space, if there wasn't a lot of space, I wouldn't force it. Like this side, I'm not going to, but I'm going to kind of connect. And so there's a highlight on either side. For this center one, I'm going to connect these to make that like inner kind of circle oval that's mimicking that black outline shape. Thicken that up. And this side up. Okay, and then my highlight is going to be a YR04. And we're literally just going to fill all of that in. And you know what? We can do that more brown pumpkin too. I just want to have like a good mixture. So we can have our brighter pumpkins, a darker orange, and we'll do our like creamy colors too. So I'm going to do a cream one on top of this. So I'm going to start with my W3, my cool gray or my warm gray. And the same idea. I'm not going to worry about the U on the bottom because it's stacked and we don't see the bottom. It's hard to, it's not showing up for you the way it is for me. Oh, I might have to make this a little darker than I would in my own. Let's grab a W4 just so you guys can see it. In real life, I would probably stick to the W3, but I want you to be able to see it on the camera. We'll just have to be more mindful about how far we pull out the color. So you can see a little bit more of that shadow. Then I'm going to jump to W1. And just start blending that out. I'm going to connect this on that one side, but not the other. I don't have to worry about making it a full circle because we don't have a ton of room. And then the thing that takes it from being like a weird gray pumpkin to like a cream, more realistic pumpkin is to go in with an E marker. So I picked E50. Sometimes I will bring in like a E81 ivory instead. Sometimes if it's a big enough space, I'll bring in a couple. So anything that's kind of in this kind of soft range is fair game. And that's what's gonna, you can go in even with like a little touch of the 53. And that just that little hint of like the suggestion of a little orange or creamy color will make it look like an actual white pumpkin, right? Because like a true, like if you go to the pumpkin patch or the farm, you get a white pumpkin. They're not perfectly white. So having a little variation there will help make them look more realistic. All right, I'm going to show you the first orange color combination I ever bought, because I bought all my Copics like one at a time, basically on my own. This was my go-to pumpkin coloring combo for a long time, and it's still a good one. It is YR18, YR14, and YR12. And those were the first 3 oranges I owned, and they were the only oranges I owned for a while because I liked them. They were a good combo. And we can kind of change it up a little bit here and there. Some pumpkins are more lumpy and bumpy than others. Some are smoother. There's not like a right or a wrong. Tarsa never questioned my choices. I question my choices all the time. All the time, Darcel. But I also think it's fun to just like experiment with different colors and different shapes. All right, so that is our other, and you can see how it's still a pretty combination. It's just a little more subdued. It's like a little less punchy. How would I put warts on the pumpkin? I mean, we don't have a lot of space on this one. My white ones seem to be the ones that get the most warts, or usually have, because I love a warty pumpkin. I love an ugly guy, and I love white. So I would just stipple in some little tiny, teeny, tiny dots. And you can always go in with something a little bit darker in the center of them. I'll show you in just a second. It's not possible for me to zoom in enough to show you, unfortunately, as I'm doing it. But this would be something that I will be very blunt and tell you would be very hard to do with the Olos. So those little spots, to me, give that kind of bumpy, warty look. And if you feel like they get too intense, you can always go back over them with like your W1 and just kind of like press them out a little bit. And that'll help them kind of sink in. But I think especially when it's on a pumpkin, you can kind of like, you know, it's not leopard spots, right? Like, you know, it's just little dots. So, yeah. So yeah, fun combinations. Let's give our bear our brighter orange again. And one of the ones with the bunny I'll show you one that you can do that's even more brown based. And I've seen people color in their pumpkins where they're like super textured, like way even more than what I add. And that's beautiful too. So that's what I'm like, I like to take into consideration what else is going on in my picture right? Like our bear is drawn very simply. Our critters, they don't have very specific details, right? Like our whole image is very like cutesy, cartoony, sweet. Nothing is hyper realistic. So when I'm coloring, I'm not worried about being hyper realistic for this style. I like to match the detail level of my coloring with the detail level of my images. So that's why these can be a little bit more smooth and a little bit of like the general idea. You don't have to sweat every little detail. Goes. Oh, we should do their little stems while I'm thinking of it. Let's do, I don't usually go green, but let's do like a real deep green. It'll match our background. Let's go YG99. One of the girls on one of my other design teams I work with um, taught me that they grew up calling the green and the white pumpkins ghouls and goblins or ghosts and goblins. And I love that. I think it's so cute. All right, we'll color in our bear in a second. I want to get all these pumpkins figured out. So all of these stems can just get taken care of at once. All YG99 and 97. Okay. Oh yeah, the Cinderella flat ones. Are those like the teal ones? Because I love those too. I'd usually get white flat ones and then like a teal flat one that you can stack up. And this year, my white pumpkins I threw out in the backyard, and we had like a big, like brush pile, compost pile, and we had to clean it out. And when we cleaned it out, I guess we churned over enough stuff, and now I have white pumpkins or like creamy pumpkins growing in my backyard as a surprise because the ones that I was growing died. So, what a gift! What a gift! Oh, I said I would show you a more brown pumpkin. Hey, Cindy, no worries. I'm just glad you're here. All right, so let's go EO9 for this guy, which is in the browns, but it's a very like red, orangey brown. Sometimes I think it's cool to kind of like bring your shadow up on one side and then down on the opposite side. Go. Let's jump to EO8. Even more kind of in that orangey family. That up and down a little more. And then let's, who wants to join the party? Mhm. Yeah, this one can just be darker. Let's go YR18, which was our darkest shade before. But I'll show you how if we kind of glaze over and just coat everything, we get this really cool, like, to me, it sounds silly. Hopefully, I know somebody out there will understand. This is a Thanksgiving pumpkin, and this is a Halloween pumpkin, right? So you can see how they all kind of can exist in the same world, but they're just like different. But I think all of that variation in kind of texture and different colors and layers is really fun for a card like this. So we need at least one more cream. I think we do this little guy in the front. So W4 with the note that in real life I probably would stick with 3. And he's little, so I'm being really mindful about how much space I'm taking up with that shadow. And my top and bottom flicks are very little, right? I'm not going halfway down the pumpkin. All right, so then W1, connect that oval. And then we can go in with our E50 again. And leaving that little bit of a white highlight on either side is going to help with that too, keeping it looking white. We can go in with like a little hint of that 53 again. Okay. Should we make him warty too? Why not? We'll add just a couple for that. Keep it a little lighter, and then back in with our 1 to boop them out. 15, hey, Miss Judy B. Yes. All right, we need a bright, and we'll do our medium pumpkin again. I think we only need the one, like darkest one. So let's, our medium-ish one, our slightly more muted one, I guess, is the YR18. $14. Filling that little bit in this back, and then 12. And then our brighter orange trio one last time is going to be YR4. Nope, YR09. YR68. Keeping in mind that there would be more shadow under our little critter and behind that other pumpkin. And then YR04. Yeah. All right, then we have our bear and our bunny. I already know that I want both of them to have red scarves so that we tie in that red somewhere else. I like the 3s, so scarf, scarf, leaves is good. I guess both of them brown, but just different browns maybe. Let's go E50s for our bear. I guess we could also have like a lighter tan bunny, not like a true brown. Still E markers, but shade the outside of his face. We can just connect that spot like under his little muzzle. And then a little shadow over the top too. The bottom of his arm, this inner part, and then under his scarf. Under this pumpkin would definitely be darker. He has these little feet. So I'm going to kind of emphasize this little like ankle. So funny. And you can pull that shadow all down just a little bit because we have so much open space. Yeah, I'm thinking gray bunny or tan. I just don't want the gray to like compete with the cream pumpkin. But definitely something along those lines is what I'm thinking. So E57 from that 59, making sure, again, because there's way more space, making sure that we're pulling that color out a little bit further, taking our time getting that nicer blend across. Connect that shadow line across over his head. Inside the ear. Like that. And then 55. Never mind. Not 55 is not my friend. Well, 35 could be my friend today. I'm just going to jump across that family. Okay, and then for his little nose, I'm going to make this 35 the darkest color. And we will just kind of emphasizing that line that's there and then underneath. And I'm going to bring in 34 just for the rest of it, just for the slightest little brightness there. All right, and then our reds, we might be good with just these two. Let's see. R59. I like to bring in and accentuate that little dip that's pretty much always on the scarves. Yeah, we can make this work with just those two. All right, so there's our little bear. Let's, I'm really liking this like warmer. So let's, maybe bunny is like light 30s. Let's start with 34. And we'll have to bring in some pink for him. It wouldn't have shown up on the bear anyway. But so same idea, around the face, over the nose, on the bottom of his little arm, under his little boot. That. Then we'll go 31. Get shading in the inside of those ears. Connect that shadow around the face. Okay. And then 30. Can fill in his whole little tummy. That. And we'll grab our 20. Adding a little pink for his ears and his cheeks. Just a tiny bit on the bottom of his little belly and blend it in. There you go. And then his scarf is the last thing. Start wishing very dry thoughts for our hearts now, because we're getting, I mean, it's been 52 minutes that we've been live, so you figure they've had at least a half hour. All right, so that's all of our bits. Now we got to die cut them. Good night, Mary. We'll see you tomorrow. I also would like a mini vote, and it doesn't have to be now, or if you're watching this in the replay, you can leave me a vote there. Thursday, should we do witches, or should we do some more general fall? You guys tell me, are we ready for some Halloween shenanigans? Or do we need some more fall first? And again, it doesn't have to be right now. Before I start plotting. Witches. Alex says witches. I'm thinking shaker for witches too, by the way. Melissa says fall. Miss Judy B says fall. See, that's what I figured. Not everybody would be ready for Halloween. Fall. For everyone, I'm probably lean fall, but with the fair warning that the week after that, we're probably going to dive on into Halloween. Like I can compromise, but only so much. You know what I mean? Fall. Oh yeah, fall is winning by a lot. Okay, you can do fall. I love a vote. That's why I like to ask. There are some of us who are down for Halloween pretty much year round, but I know that that's not true for everyone. These dies feel like they have a slightly bigger border than I'm used to. Be interesting to see what happens when we run it through. Maybe it's just the bunny. You know, I might cut it close, but it might be okay. Right, now we have our leaves. Hey, Karen. Missy said she's working on Halloween now. Oh, ow. All right, let's run all of these through the die cutting machine. I have Mrs. Big Shot over here on the floor where she lives. Okay. Oh, Barbara's working on candy corn cards. Love that. Michelle's saying Halloween, but general Halloween. Okay. Missy said Karen made it here before the fun part. What's the fun part? When we assemble? When I go into my card making trance and just start foam taping things wherever? Is that the fun part? Let's go there. You know, I love that all of our dies are marked out, so I don't have to guess what goes where. There you go. I also want to try to use that new witch stamp set for a Halloween birthday card because I do have a very good friend whose birthday is October 18th. And so she needs like a witchy Halloween birthday card. Try to make her a fun Halloween birthday card every year. She's also a big Halloween fan, by the way. She works at my dad's haunted house with me, and I've known her. We've worked together, slash, I've known her now for, how old am I? Since I've known her since 1996. How long ago was that? 28 years? We're just under 30 years, right? She's a little older than me. Um, but yeah, we've been friends that long. Yeah, Gail, I don't know. Maybe it's been a minute since I've talked about that. My dad owns a haunted house out near Pittsburgh in a tiny town called Monessen. Um, and he's been in business for over 30 years. I started performing slash helping when I was 7. So yeah, we are a Halloween household. It's no gore, no, everybody's tried out be 28 years. It's no gore, no violence, no chainsaws, no touching. And it's been that way the whole time. So we do kid shows on the Sundays in October because we love Halloween for the whole family. So yeah, it's very fun. All right, I don't know exactly where final placement's going to be yet, obviously. but that's the general vibe I'm going for. And then let's check on these parts. Let's see, do I have a soft brush? Softish. Just gonna dust off the extra. But yeah, those are dry. So you can see they do kind of have that like sugar cookie kind of look, but this is like solidly on. Like no, once you brush off the extra, that's it. You don't have to worry about it like falling off, and we didn't have to squish them in. So you can see even when we are dusting off, like we got really good coverage by just sprinkling that in while that stuff was still wet. The touch of gloss. I remember that was with our tangerine. And we don't have to use all three either. We might just use the smaller two. We will origami fold all of that glitter into a little pouch. Tuck that away. I can kind of just envision like some little, just like a little happy, some pumpkin love, some pumpkin patch love. Like you are the pick of the patch with the hearts, like they're falling in love. They love the fall. Like, yeah, we get it. We get it. All right, let's see if we can manage to do this. Can I do a slimline card on Thursday? You bet I can. You bet I can. A slimline fall card on Thursday. Order up. I'm on it. Pick a patch. Straight. We're going to take our anti-static powder tool, powder brush, and our embossing ink that has seen better days because I dipped it in barbershop blue ink yesterday. And trying not to press down hard when I'm doing that, just trying to leave the embossing ink on long enough that it has time to transfer without having to force it, because this is very thin. The lettering is very thin, the font. So if we squish it, it's not going to be easy to read. Okay. Right here. We'll be right back. That turned out pretty clean, I think. Like that. All right, so let's make our own little banner. I'm not sure if I want this tucked underneath yet of something or if it's going to be trimmed on both sides. So the safest thing is to just leave it for now. Oh, I could flock the bear, but I don't have brown flock. So he's not getting flocked today. Darcel's making Christmas cards with the senior center. That's amazing. I love that. I tried to teach my coworkers last year how to make cards. I can promise you it is not easy to teach card making to people who are not sure that they want to learn how to make a card. Mm. Like part of me is envisioning like the big heart and then like you're the pick of the patch and then maybe like the bear, the bunny, like maybe that's how we tie it in. That could be cute. And then just like one of our other hearts over here. I think that's where I'm headed. All right, this might not be completely dried underneath because I just stuck my nail in it and it's damp. We don't say the N word here. So it's a little damp. It got a little dent in it. So this is like that. I can just squish that back to flat. If I squished it into being curved, like a dent in it, maybe I can squish it back to be flat. Just gonna trim that off. So now our heart hides the end of our little banner. And we can pop up our bear. I promise this will be the last night of counterfeit glue. Although, you know what I did get this weekend? Um, Bloom planners where I work my normal job. Had a pop-up event at Michael's this weekend, my local Michael's craft store. And so I remembered to get tape runner finally refills. So now I have tape runner. Oh, Darcel, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. To make up like little kits. That's what I should have done at work. I just took random supplies with me and it was like a free for all. And then multiple like ink cubes were not in great shape after that. All right, let's start with the bear because he kind of needs to be in a certain place. This is a little crooked. I'm trying to slide him. Yeah, there we go. He needs to be lined up nicely to cover that other bit. Let's see, Bun Bun. Where's he going to go? I can kind of down here. I think it's kind of cool if he breaks over that wall too, since our heart is kind of over the edge. Yeah, I just love that right tucked behind them. I don't know if we'll have room for all three or if two is good, but I really like that. Like they're they're in love. I know that's not how animals work. For whatever person may stumble upon this replay later down the road and be like, man, that girl's dumb. I know, but in my world, I grew up with Disney. Those animals could absolutely fall in love and get married. All right, I think this has to go on the outer edge because it's tall and we need some height there to balance out all of this height over here, kind of like bridge that gap between the hearts. And he is darker, so in my head, he should go further back. Right, like make our own little cluster. like that. And then we have all of our little leaves we can like tuck around. So maybe you go flat. You get foam. I see everybody saying Annette's doing great things. What's Annette doing? Small cards for the residents. Wow, 6 holidays times 50 cards. Yeah, that's crazy. You're a powerhouse. Yes, Gail, it is. We are making our own little pumpkin patch. That is accurate. This guy up. Sorry guys, this one's a long one. Right? Yeah, no, that just feels forced. I think 2 is fine. I like the 2. I'd rather have the open space, I think. All right, let's pop some leaves in. We may not need all of them, but I'd rather have some extra versus not enough, right? No, you don't want him to feel left out. He can't be the only one left behind. There we go. All right, there is our sweet little card. You are the pick of the patch. We got some glitter. We got a bunch of different pumpkin colors. We got to play with some textures, lots of pumpkin practice. We got to sprinkle glitter and generally not make a huge mess. That's an accomplishment in my book any day. So you are the pick of the patch. We will be back on Thursday with a fall themed slimline card. If anyone else has any specific requests that they would like to put in, leave them in the comments for me. I will come back and check them tomorrow night or Thursday morning. And yeah, otherwise, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all of your support, for loving on Pink and Main, all the support that you guys have given me. And I will be back here on Thursday. Until then, guys, I hope you have a lovely night. And as always,